Hey everyone, Zian over here from Nintendo Life, and today we're here to share with you our review of Freedom Wars Remastered on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this review was originally written by Ollie Reynolds for NintendoLife.com, but was reworked into this video by me. Like Nintendo's very own Wii U, the PlayStation Vita has seen a good chunk of its best games migrate to alternative platforms in the years since the system itself veered into the realm of commercial failure. One of these games is Freedom Wars, a third-person action title created by Dimps that, at the time, was one of the most successful first-party published Vita games, at least in Japan. Now, over 10 years later, publisher Bandai Namco has taken the reins from Sony to present a remaster for Switch, retaining much of the original essence while improving upon the core gameplay. Freedom Wars Remastered is, at its core, a loose take on Monster Hunter's gameplay. As a sinner within an underground panopticon city, you must complete combat ops. In a world in which resources are exceptionally scarce, the very nature of existence is in itself a crime. Hence, you begin the game with a rather harsh 1 million year sentence. By completing operations and rescuing your fellow citizens from large creatures known as abductors, you can reduce your sentence and gain entitlements along the way. It's a fascinating premise that quickly sank its hooks into us thanks to its dystopian nature and heavy focus on reducing or lengthening your sentence. Entitlements, such as spending time with fellow inmates, exercising, or even simply lying down to rest, are initially forbidden and can add hundreds if not thousands of additional years to your sentence. Slowly inching your way through your required operations, meanwhile, can earn more freedom within your panopticon. However, despite its intriguing setup, Freedom Wars' story can often get in the way of the gameplay. Nothing has changed in this regard from the Vita version, and for the opening handful of hours at least, it can feel exceptionally slow as the world and its characters start to open up. This eases up a bit as you progress, but having to sit through lengthy dialogue sessions every time you complete an operation can be a tad grating. To make things worse, you're constantly kicked back to your cell after every mission, so if you want to visit the in-game store or complete additional objectives within the Panopticon, you have to make the same journey from your cell every time, at least until you unlock your fast travel entitlement. The true star of the show here is the action gameplay that takes center stage when partaking in your chosen operation. Although you'll be taking on enemies large and small, the monstrous abductors present the biggest challenge, requiring you to make use of melee weapons, long-range guns, and a tool known as a thorn. The latter is essentially a grappling whip that you can use to either launch yourself onto an enemy, drag them to the ground, or quickly traverse the environment. As you proceed further, you'll unlock new types of thorns with unique properties such as healing abilities and shields. There's a decent amount of variety with the operations too. Basic missions see you taking down the abductors and carrying rescued civilians to safety, but there are also other missions that involve competing against other panopticons to see which can rescue the most civilians. It almost feels like a take on a classic capture the flag mode, and it works quite well for the most part. Once you've completed your missions, you'll be presented with the option to either donate gathered materials to the wider cause, thus reducing your sentence further, or keeping them for your personal use. There's no major downside to either option, but reducing your sentence and gaining entitlement points earns more freedom within your cell and the wider Panopticon hub area. The controls have been significantly improved from the original Vita version. Light and heavy melee attacks have been remapped to R and ZR respectively, while you can switch between your weapons with a quick tap of X. It's a more modernized take that feels more natural to control, but options let you customize the control scheme to your liking if you find yourself wanting to recapture the original Vita layout. Similarly, overall player speed seems to have been increased a bit for this new release too, and the game feels a little less tiresome as a result. Now, aside from the improved controls, the Switch version specifically feels just a bit too similar to the original Vita game. Yeah, there's a welcome boost in resolution here, 1080p when docked versus the Vita's 544p, but the Switch's 30 FPS isn't the most optimum experience possible. The 4K 60 FPS gameplay on other platforms would undoubtedly make this feel like a significant leap on the original game, but as it is, the Switch version feels more like a straight port than a fully remastered title. Additions like new customizable hairstyles and facial features are welcome, but it's not quite enough. What's nice, however, is that while English is the default audio option, the original Japanese audio is also present. It did take us a bit of time to find the option to alter this though, since it's bizarrely labeled as request auditory refit within your cell. But it's there, and while the music hasn't changed for the remaster, it remains catchy and true to the dystopian sci-fi setting. Despite its issues, Freedom Wars Remastered is still a decent game that shines brightly when you're knee-deep in combat, swapping between close and long-range weapons on the fly, zipping up onto abductors' heads with your nifty thorn tool. It's nicely challenging at times and can feel exhilarating when you finally wipe out a couple of abductors. It's just a shame that you often have to sit through extended periods of monotonous plot once you're done. Freedom Wars Remastered is a welcome addition to the Switch that revives one of the PS Vita's most unique and enjoyable games. Its core gameplay is challenging and satisfying in equal measure, with plenty of customizable options and upgrades to keep you hooked. Sadly, the story often gets in the way of the fun, especially near the beginning, while performance upgrades on the Switch are kept to a minimum, which is understandable to an extent, but a shame nevertheless. Still, for both new and returning players, Freedom Wars Remastered is worth checking out if you enjoy battling giant monsters. We here at Nintendo Life give Freedom Wars Remastered on the Nintendo Switch a 7 out of 10. Be sure to let us know in the comments down below if you ever played Freedom Wars back on the Vita when it first came out, or if you're picking up this remaster. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, then why don't you toss a thorn at that subscribe button and then ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we put up new videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zion from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I just have a little thing that I kind of want to vent about. I want to complain a little, if that's okay, when it comes to this game. It tries really, really hard to make you feel like you're living in the universe, so much so that, as Ollie mentions in the review, all of the options, all of the menu systems are all using really weird words to describe simple little tasks, and it makes navigating everything really cumbersome. And I know every menu system can't be as elaborate and fun to flip through like Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5, but gosh, it is a real chore flipping through these menus. And it makes learning the game just that much harder because there's so much to wrap your head around. But then there are also these entitlements that Ollie mentions in the review. There are all these simple little abilities, little things that you have to basically win the right back to do, like sleeping lying down, or talking to certain NPCs, or running so far away from your partner character. One thing I learned was if you run 20 meters away from your partner, you get punished 100 additional years on your prison sentence. And what's funny is this isn't even the first game I've ever played where I've been punished by running. Lunar, Dragon Song on the DS, actually, if you ran too much, it inflicted pain on the player. And that's just not fun. I realize this game is putting you in a jail cell in a world that is crumbling, but man, at least the combat's fun.